New video from the kitchen here. Today I made some protein-sparing modified fast bread. That's a mouthful, but Maria Emmerich has a protein-sparing modified fast diet, and she has just tons of recipes that work with that diet. That's, sort of like the fasting mimicking, where you can consume X amount of calories a day and your body still thinks you're fasting. There's a lot of, back and forth on this in Twitterverse and also, on the social platforms. One podcast interview that I saw yesterday was with David Asprey with Bulletproof Coffee, along with Lewis Howes on his Greatness podcast. And Dave was saying, and I know this is sort of biased because it talks about bulletproof coffee, but he was saying that using MCT oils in your coffee actually makes you feel better as you're doing your fast because it's fulfilling, right? It makes you satiated. So he said that doesn't break your fast, and you can keep going with that. I'm not sure about putting ghee butter in there as well, but I think he even said that. And there's some other products he says that you can add to that, like prebiotic fiber and other things that, keep you going throughout your fast. His new book is about fasting, after watching that interview, it's on YouTube, I kind of had a different feeling about the whole bulletproof thing and him. And I look at him more like an entrepreneur. He said he just tries to build companies around products he couldn't buy. And man, kudos for somebody that does that. Tip off the hat. But anyway, down here in the oven, we have some bread that I just made today, and I'm pretty sure it's probably like very, very well done. So let's take it out of there and see what it's like. Now, the reason of all reasons that I say that it's very well done, because it's been probably sitting in here for almost an hour. Ooh, look at that. That's like really strange, huh? Take it over here. Now, what I got going, I made this out of egg whites, actually, and used some of this over here. This egg white, Judy's gluten-free, I got on Amazon. It's 2 pounds of egg white, and I used it. Like, you add that to, here's my recipe. I did, and I know this kind of looks funny, but that's the way it's supposed to be. I used a dozen egg whites from actual eggs. Now somebody asked me on Twitter, so what in the heck did you do with the yolks? So what I've done with the yolks is I Googled, Google is my friend, what to do with, how to store egg yolks. And it said, put them in an airtight container, put a little bit of water in them, and store them in the fridge. So I'm going to be eating those in the next few days. My mom said to make a sandwich out of the eggs and the egg white bread. So what this is actually is egg yolks that I like meringued up, along with the protein powder that I just showed you over there, made out of egg whites as well. So it's egg whites, and you just put it in your oven at 132 degrees for 45 minutes. And 45 was about right, Not sure if it's too crunchy or not. I'm telling you, this stuff, you would be surprised. Go to Maria's website. I'll put it in the comments below. And snag you some recipes. She's well known for her zero carb. That's what excites me. This thing has minimum of carb. I think like each slice, and she said quite a big slice, Dave, has 0.5 carbs, I think, because of the eggs. Eggs have a teeny bit of carbs in them. And then it has lots of protein, and it has some fat. Eggs have fat. And then whatever you add to it, and here's a concoction I made up for today because I know I need to hit my fat goals. Look at this. We're back to the sous vide, right? And let me tell you guys, therapeutic keto diets, if you have an issue going on, there's nothing to play around with. You need to be hitting your fat goals. You better be hitting your fat goals, right? And I'm not sure if this is exactly the right way to do this. We're still at 155 degrees, which is awfully hot. So that deal right there is cooked. As you notice, they make these airtight so there is no oil floating around on my water. I did this in here for, I think it was also 45 minutes. It was a recipe I got online. And I'm going to get my skillet out, cut this up. I bet it's just chock full of oil too, or fat. I need that. Actually, the sausage is one thing that's like, oh, hey, look at this. Maybe we can see the label on it. Ouch. Hoka la coca. That is burning hot. Hang on just a sec. I will probably eventually use this tool on the griddle. The skillet. So here we go. Okay, now look at this. We have absolutely 0 carbs, 0 sugars. Protein, 8 grams. Look at the total fat on this guy, 28 grams per serving. And the serving size is 2 ounces. So I can get like a huge serving because of the protein number I got. If you're on therapeutic keto, you want to keep your protein number down. And the other thing that, now it's floating that way, so it must be really full of fat. The fat's like rendered out of the sausage a little bit. So when I open this thing, I better be careful, right? I'll do it in a pot, I guess. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to be doggone good with your measurements. And that's why I use Chronometer. It's a free app, so I don't make any money off of that thing. But, measure your stuff. These things are so cheap to get on Amazon. This is my travel scale. By travel, I mean I take it with me on trips. And the reason why I got this one is because it uses the AAA batteries, which you can find anywhere in the world. Those scales that use the C32 or 2308, whatever those little round cells are, you can't get those like everywhere. Sometimes those are tough to find if you're in a foreign country. But AAAs, they've been used for centuries. So what I'm going to do is cut the bread, cook up my sausage, and that will be a meal for me. And I'm going to mark it down in my Chronometer. So I'm going to weigh. Yes, this is how you do it, guys. I'm going to weigh how much of this sausage I'm going to eat. I'm going to make sure it's going to be in my protein number for the day. I'm at 0.8 grams per lean body mass. I think that's how you do it in kilos. Your Chronometer will help you come up with your macro. That's called a macro, right? So mine is at that because that's therapeutic. Regular would be 1 for every kilo, 1 gram for every kilo that you weigh. Lean body mass, though, I think that's how they measure it, not your fat and everything. Your mass without, lean, without all the fat on it, I guess. That can be calculated too, pretty easily, I guess. But what does help is a scale that measures your body mass index. I think that helps the lean body mass be calculated, at least in chronometer. But you can that number, you can be off by like a few kilos here and there, and still be doing your protein number. For me, my protein number I think is around 48 grams per day. That's pretty low. But remember, we're doing this for a medicinal purpose. You're not playing around here. You're not doing this to lose weight. You're not doing this to gain weight. You're doing this to fight off a disease. In my case, it's cancer. So it's super important not to screw around with this stuff, Measure your glucose every day, same time every day. Measure your ketones every day. If you have the Keto Mojo, which is a cool device, you can take, there's 2 strips, one's for your ketones, the other one's for your glucose. If you measure within 3 minutes, and of course you do because you don't want to prick your finger twice in the same time, right? It'll come up with the GKI, which is the glucose ketone index, developed by Dr. Thomas Seyfried. And he came up with this index to show how you can get into, the lower your number of your GKI, the deeper you are in ketosis. You want to be in deep ketosis. You want to be like 1.0 or even below a 1, I mean, that's deep, deep, deep. Lower your calories, because in his studies over the last 20 years or so, that's been an important factor. And then, your fat content has to be out the wazoo, as they say. And I know there's twice as many calories derived from fat per gram as there are from protein per gram. But it's a thing that you have to watch. He says, take your calories from your proteins and let your fats, skyrocket. And for me, when I measure and I hit my fat, which mine I think's at 200 and almost 290 grams a day, so it's way over here, When I hit that, guys, and I do my GKI the next day, I always do mine around 8:30 every morning. And then if I feel like it, I do it in the afternoon too, but not so much, because I find my afternoon measurements usually around the same. And my GKI can vary. Today it was great. When I'm traveling, sometimes not so, because just depends. I'm not sure if it has to do with the fact, this may be TMI, but with the fact that usually when I do air travel from internationally, you get constipated. Okay, I'm gonna have a video just on constipation. I am, because I know when you're in a deep state of therapeutic ketosis, things happen down there where things move slower. When they move slower, I'm telling you, your GKI will start going up, and that's not a good thing. You want to stay below, of course you want to stay below 5. That's like at a minimum. And then the closer you can get to 0 on GKI, it's better. You want to have as many ketones as you can, up to 5 per millimolar. Is it millimolar, deciliter? Yeah, millimolar per deciliter, okay? And then your glucose would be great if it was below 100. Mine was up there this morning, but I had 4 ketones per millimolar per deciliter, and that's what made my GKI number low. But I didn't like the glucose that was in my system at that level at 8:30 in the morning. And it was because yesterday I had a chemo session, and when I got home, to reward myself that I got through that thing, I ate just a big plate of steak and cheese. That was way off my protein numbers. And it shows. That's why it's so important to measure things. I have to be disciplined enough not to do that again, because I think that's not beneficial to the whole thing. Even though my GKI is super, I don't think that was good. Matter of fact, this next chemo session that's coming up I think my next one's 22nd, around there. I am going to fast through the chemo day into the next morning. I think that will make a difference on how the chemotherapy works against the cancer cells. All right. Anyway, gonna have my food here. Hope you're having a good day. Don't forget to, if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications, which lets you know, boop, Dave has a new video. Yes. And I want you to take care of yourselves. I want you to know that you can have hope in this whole situation. If you are not fighting heavy-duty disease, but you know somebody that is, if you would be so kind as to direct them to this YouTube channel, I sure would appreciate it. I'd love to help anybody if they watch some of these videos. I put them chock full of tips that I'm learning, and hopefully it'll help them, okay? And if it is for you, I want to challenge you to be disciplined, to turn your day into a routine that you can follow, and I want you to systemize everything so you don't fall out of that accountability that you need to fight this thing, okay? Take your supplements when you need to, fast when you're going into chemotherapy. This is all part of my protocol that I do. Make sure you hit your fat numbers per day, right? I wouldn't worry about the protein, because for this, using diet as a medicine in this protocol, you don't have to worry so much. And because when your body gets into this ketogenic state, it actually does spare your proteins in your body. It's the last thing on earth that your body is going to burn as fuel are the proteins in your body, like your muscles. It's not going to do that. Matter of fact, a ketogenic diet is already protein sparing. It leaves that stuff alone. And what does it do? It uses the fats that I'm talking about. And I'm pointing down here to this guy because I'm going to be consuming that, not the whole thing, but whatever it'll allow on the on Chronometer to hit my fat number for the day. It's important to me, and I want it to be important to you. I want you to get to the point where you have such a discipline that it becomes second nature to you. You need to be eating right. You need to be exercising. Don't give that up just because you got a diagnosis that's creepy. All right? You still got to exercise. Okay? Even when you're feeling kind of lousy, push through it. Do some planks or do some squats as much as you can, And then make fun stuff like this, like Maria's keto bread. I'm looking down at it right here and excited to try it. And my next loaf will come out even better. I think this was for 2 small pans, but I just chucked it all in one pan. As you can see, it doesn't matter. It's sort of like a meringue type bread, anyway. So anyway, I want you to have a great one, okay? So stay tuned. Stay strict on yourself. Don't give up. Let's go together through this journey. And I want you to know that there is hope. All right? Have a great day.